Observance, the African American community, population, sexually transmitted diseases, HIV, beliefs in religion, slavery, and discrimination. A faceless figure, a vast ocean of health problems and discrimination. The Lion King Sundiata of West Africa, the ruler of West Africa. 25 tribes battle for the right to be Lion King, then pledge allegiance to the Lion King. Religion, University, Empire. The study of Quran, University of Timbuktu. Astronomy, engineers, and logic. The Empire of Mali, 12th century to the 15th century. Transatlantic slave trade, 15th century to the 19th century. African tribes practiced slavery. Slavery dated back to the Mesopotamia area. Different names for slaves are human bondage, serfdom, servitude, enslavement, and chattel slaves. Countries that profited from slavery during the 15th century: Holland, France, Spain, Portugal, Britain, China, Saudi Arabia. West African tribe leaders also profited from slaves. Tribe leaders became warlords, kidnapped children, women, and men by force from other tribes, sold the victims for profit to the European slave traders. African slaves from the 15th to the 19th century transitioned into African American slaves. 12.5 million American women, children, and men were sold as slaves. These slave ships were a disease container of vomit, feces, and urine. 21% of the slaves died during the journey. At the end of the journey, the slaves would get a makeover for quality control. African American slaves are 3/5 of a person in the slave states. They would work the lands for sugar, rice, cotton, and other textiles. Fought against familiar foes, still treated as property, slave laws allowed the owner to conduct horrible acts to another human. Teaching slaves how to read, write, and arithmetic was outlawed and punishable by death. Human rights, segregation, and public health. Civil War ended in 1865. Slave states adopted the Black Code from the Slave Code, and that was to hinder the freedom of humans. Supreme Court rulings, the Plessy versus Ferguson, which was rail cars, and they had to make separate rail cars for colored people and white people. The Tuskegee study from 1932 to 1972, that's when the U.S. public health system would go around and inject 3/4 of African men with syphilis and 1/4 of African men with syphilis and the cure. And then within 40 years, they would watch the 3/4 of the men die a horrible death. Then you have Brown versus Board of Education. That took 2 years to finally make it able for African Americans to go to public schools with other people. Then you have your Civil Rights Act of 1964, which jobs and schools and anywhere couldn't racial profile people and stuff like that, but you know. And then you have the Baptist Church, which was basically like a safe space for African Americans during slaves times to go and practice their religion, and it was really big. The African American population, STI, death rate, HIV, AIDS, heterosexual, and LGBTQ. The population is 13.4% US, under 5 is 6.1%, under 18 is 22.6%, 65 and older is 15.6%, female 50.8%. Death rate is from 1999 to 2015 decreased by 25%. Age 35 to 64, 50% of African Americans can get hypertension. Age 20 to 40, high rate of heart disease, diabetes, and stroke. Over here is the United States of America, and it's the population of Black or African American and non-Hispanic people. African Americans, HIV, and AIDS. The immune host system is fragile. The host can develop different cancers in the body, and they are cervical cancer, primary central nervous system, lymphoma, and Kaposi sarcoma. 44% are new patients with HIV/AIDS. Men is 80%, homosexual 14%, heterosexual is 14%. Oops. 1% is other. Drug use is 4%, and 2% share needles. Women are 91% heterosexual, 8% drug use, and 1% other. Age 25 to 34 is 41% is HIV or AIDS carrier. 2010 to 2016 is HIV, AIDS have decreased by 13%. 2016, AIDS and HIV deaths are total of 6,900. Theory of planned behavior, discrimination, trust, and religion. The problems from the cause and effect of discrimination are antisocial behaviors, hostile behavior, low self-esteem, lack of concentration, and insomnia. The reason for choosing this theory of planned behavior is because African Americans' attitudes, beliefs, and controlled behavior with HIV and sexual transmitted diseases are a form of discrimination within the social construct that harms a population of people with adverse health effects. Intervention, a physical activity with a positive mentor, positive attitude, positive belief system, positive control behavior, positive spiritual mind and body, physical fitness 3 to 5 times a day, 5 times a day a week for 150 minutes with a group trainer, share positive experience on social media sites with other members in the group, open-minded to other sexual genders, race, and religion, willpower to visit a doctor for physical exams, and to inform partners of STIs or HIV, AIDS, and the control to practice safe sex. Outcome and conclusion. Low to medium outcome. They'll have a good base of knowledge. Social media will be very strong since everybody's new, or not new to the social media. Everybody will be informed readers of HIV and AIDS. Everybody in the group will be open-minded to all genders, races, and religions. Regular STI checkups with doctors and inform new members of HIV and AIDS.